Hey everyone, you know that feeling when you're trying to keep up with all the news. But every time you turn around, there's a new AI headline.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? It's like almost impossible to keep up with.
Totally, yeah. So today we're going to dive into some of the big AI stories, the stuff that really matters. We've got Google, they're shaking things up internally. IBM's making some moves with open source AI. And even, get this, blockchain is getting in on the action.
Really interesting stuff. Let's start with Google, huh? They've been busy restructuring their AI teams, putting some big names up front like Prabhakar Raghavan and Nick Fox.
Yeah, I saw that. What's the strategy there, do you think? It's a pretty big shift.
Seems like it's all about speed, you know?
Yeah.
Google sees AI moving fast and they're trying to keep up, streamline everything like a race car, constantly tweaking to stay ahead.
Makes sense. Got to stay competitive.
Yeah.
And they've had some wins lately, right, to help with that.
For sure. Notebook LM is a good example. People seem to like that AI note-taking tool. Plus, they're doing interesting things with AI shopping features, even healthcare. They've got systems that can detect diseases like diabetic retinopathy. Pretty amazing stuff.
Wow, okay, that's impressive. But even with that, it feels like there's this pressure, right, from competitors like ChatGPT. Everyone wants to be on top.
Yeah, you said it. That competition is fierce. Google can't let up for a second.
Okay, well, speaking of competition, let's talk about IBM. They just went and dropped these new AI models, Granite 3.0. And get this, they're open source.
No, that is interesting. It's a real game changer. Open sourcing their models, specifically using the Apache 2.0 license, it's like IBM is saying. We're not just competing on how good our AI is, but on our whole philosophy, openness.
Okay, hold on. What does open source even mean in this context? Why is IBM doing that?
Think of it like this. Proprietary software, that's like, you know what you get with Apple? It's like buying a house that's already built. Shiny and new, but you can't really change the layout. Open source is like getting the blueprints and tools, you build it yourself.
So they're giving away the keys to the castle, basically. They're AI tech. Anyone can grab it. Why?
It's a bold strategy for sure. By making Granite open source, IBM is inviting everyone, developers, businesses, to mess around with it, improve it, build on it. It could really speed up innovation, having all these minds working on it.
Wow, okay. Sounds like they're betting big on collaboration. But hold on, with all these companies jumping into the AI game, how do we know which models to trust? Especially if it's open source, where anyone can tinker.
That is a really important point. It's a bit of a wild west out there, and that is exactly where a company like Endor Labs comes in. They're trying to bring some order to the chaos.
Right. Endor Labs, the AI security company. Remind me what they're doing here.
They're like the referees of the AI world. They set standards and see if these models measure up, if they're safe, and all that.
Okay, so how do they actually decide if an AI model is, good or bad?
So they've got this system where they really dig into these models, looking for risks, vulnerabilities, all of that. It's like they're giving grades. Based on security, is it legal? Is it reliable?
Gotcha. So no more blindly trusting whatever AI we find online. Endor Labs wants a safer AI world. Makes sense.
Exactly. They want a more careful, security-minded approach, especially now as open source gets bigger, But speaking of new developments, this brings us to a fascinating intersection: AI and blockchain technology.
Blockchain and AI. Okay, now you're talking. But I'll be honest, I don't really get how those two connect.
It does sound a little out there, right? But there's huge potential. Blockchain could actually address some of the biggest concerns around AI, like data privacy and, the power of big tech.
Okay, you've got my attention. Break it down for me. How can blockchain change things with AI?
Imagine, instead of all the power in AI being with a few big companies, it's spread out. Decentralized. That's what blockchain brings.
So no more Google or IBM calling the shots. It's more democratic. Everyone has access.
Exactly. And it's not just a dream. There are companies already building this future. Space and Time is one of them.
Space and Time. I've heard that name. What are they doing in this world of blockchain and AI?
They're building what they call a decentralized data warehouse. Think secure, transparent data storage, but designed to connect to AI.
So they're laying the foundation for this decentralized AI future. That's amazing. But how? What's so special about their tech?
They've got this thing called proof of SQL. It's kind of a mouthful, I know, but it's how they make sure data queries on the blockchain are accurate, cryptographically verified.
Cryptographically?
Yeah.
Huh, okay, you're going to have to explain that one. In English, please? And why does it matter for AI?
Look, AI, it lives on data, right? But how do you know that data is accurate? especially in a system that's decentralized. That's where proof of SQL comes in. It's like a tamper-proof seal. Make sure the data is legit. Super important for any AI that's making decisions based on that data.
Okay, so space and time is making sure the data going into these AI systems is the real deal. Smart, but they're not the only ones, right? Who else is in this space?
Absolutely. There's OG. They've created something called a decentralized AI operating system, or
A
DIS.
whole operating system, decentralized. Okay, that sounds intense. What does it even do?
Think of it like the base, the foundation for building and running AI on the blockchain. Developers get all the tools, data storage, computing power to train those massive models, everything. It's like building blocks for a whole new kind of AI, more open, you know?
Okay, so we've got the data covered, the operating system. Anything else needed to make this whole decentralized AI thing really work?
One more piece, finding the right data. That's where SQD comes in. They're solving the data accessibility problem in this decentralized world.
Data accessibility.
Mhm.
But I thought blockchain was supposed to make data more accessible.
It does, in a way, but imagine having a library with billions of books, but no card catalog, no search bar. How do you find anything?
Point taken. So SQD is like the librarian for the blockchain, helping AI find the exact data it needs.
Exactly. They've built this unique indexing tool that makes it so much easier for AI applications to search through all that decentralized data. Without it, it would be impossible.
Wow. Okay. So we've got space and time laying the groundwork, OG with the operating system, and SQD making sure we can actually find the data. It's like they're building a whole new world of AI, huh? More open, more decentralized.
It's pretty exciting to see this shift away from, big tech towards something more community-driven. It could change everything about how we use AI.
It's like the Wild West, but instead of saloons, we're getting railroads and stuff, setting up for the future.
I like that. And it's not just about access either. It's about trust. A decentralized system, it's more transparent. You can see how these AI models are trained, what data they're using, who's benefiting.
Right, right. It all ties back to that trust and safety stuff we were talking about with Endor Labs. But I do have to ask, what about the downsides? This all sounds amazing, but are there risks with AI moving so fast?
Of course, it's like any powerful tool, right? You have to be careful. One of the big worries is jobs.
Yeah, that's the big one. Everyone's wondering about it. Are robots taking over?
I don't think it's that simple. AI can definitely automate stuff, but it's not a one-to-one replacement. Not for most jobs anyway.
So it's not necessarily robots taking jobs, but more like our jobs are going to change as AI becomes more common.
Exactly. AI is going to augment our abilities, not just replace us.
Hmm.
But yeah, we're going to need new skills to really thrive in this new job market.
So what should people be learning? What skills are we talking about to stay ahead of the curve?
The human stuff. Critical thinking, creativity, solving problems, emotional intelligence, that kind of thing. AI can't really do that. Not yet, anyway.
So it's not just about being good with tech, but also being good at being human. Interesting. Sounds like education is going to be more important than ever.
For sure. We need to prepare people for an AI-driven world. And it's not just about coding. It's about thinking critically, being adaptable, being ready for anything, really.
It's like learning a whole new language, the language of AI of the future. It'll take work, but it'll be worth it.
I think so. And it's not just on individuals either, right? It's society as a whole. We have to talk about the ethics of all this, make sure AI is used responsibly.
It's a bigger conversation than just tech. It's about our future.
Yeah,
And those conversations are more important than ever.
absolutely. AI could change everything for the better, but we have to steer it in the right direction. It's up to us.
A lot to think about. We've covered so much. Google changing things up, IBM and their open source play, decentralized AI. Even jobs. But before we go, you mentioned healthcare earlier, AI revolutionizing things. Can you tell me more?
Imagine AI that can look at medical images and diagnose diseases way earlier than we can now, or treatments tailored to your exact DNA. We're already seeing the beginning of that, but AI and blockchain together, it's going to explode.
A healthcare revolution. Finding diseases early. Personalized treatments. It's incredible.
It is, and that's just one area. Think about supply chains, education, even art and entertainment. AI is going to touch everything.
Mind blown. But okay, let's come back to Earth for a minute. We talked about a ton of companies and technologies. What connects them all? What's the common thread?
I think it's this. We're seeing a fundamental shift in how we understand AI. It's not just for the tech giants anymore. It's becoming accessible to everyone, more decentralized, more a part of our daily lives.
So it's not just about the tech itself, but how it's changing, well, everything.
Exactly. And that's what makes this such an amazing time to be paying attention.
I know, right? It's a lot to wrap your head around. It really does feel like we're on the edge of, well, something huge.
Mhm.
But with all this change, it's easy to feel a little, I don't know, overwhelmed.
Oh, absolutely. It really is. Like trying to drink from a fire hose sometimes.
Exactly. Too much info, too fast. That's why I think these conversations are so important, breaking it all down, making
Yeah,
it make sense.
totally agree. Knowledge is power, right? The more we understand this stuff, the better we can handle whatever's coming next.
Well said.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this AI deep dive, what's the one thing you hope listeners walk away with? What's the key takeaway?
Hmm. That's a good question. I hope they feel, I don't know, cautiously optimistic. AI has so much potential for good, but it's really on us to make sure it's used the right way.
It's like we're at a fork in the road, and the decisions we make now, they're going to shape everything.
Exactly. It's on all of us to get this right, to
Mhm.
use AI for good.
So much to think about. Well, I've got to say, I feel a lot more informed after our chat today. Inspired, even.
Me too. It's an exciting time to be into AI, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening, as you go about your day, seeing AI everywhere, just remember, you're not just a bystander in all of this. Your choices, your voice, they matter.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask questions, stay curious, keep learning. That's how we shape the future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This deep dive may be over, but the conversation never really ends, does it? Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of tech.